CDL Practice Test, New York, air brake. CDL Practice Test, New York, air brake, Part 5. Question number 53. Air tank drains. A. Allow rainwater to enter the tanks. B. Should never be opened. C. Must remain open while driving. D. Are used to drain water and oil from the tanks. The correct answer here, D. Are used to drain water and oil from the tanks. Explanation. In an air brake system, the air storage tanks are equipped with drains to allow water and compressor oil to be removed. The water and oil can damage the brakes if left to accumulate in the system. Question number 54. What does the front brake limiting valve in some older vehicles do when turned to slippery? A. It cuts the air supply to the front brakes and increases the pressure in the rear brakes. B. It decreases the air pressure to all brakes by half. C. It reduces the air pressure in the front brakes to 0.75 that of normal conditions. D. It cuts the standard air pressure to the front brakes by half. The correct answer is here, D. It cuts the standard air pressure to the front brakes by half. Explanation. There are both normal and slippery settings. When set on slippery, the standard air pressure sent to the front brakes is cut in half. This was believed to help maintain control of the vehicle in slippery conditions. Question number 55. To use anti-lock brakes properly, you should A. Pump the brake pedal. B. Brake extra hard. C. Brake normally. The correct answer is here, C. Brake normally. Explanation. Anti-lock brakes will automatically keep your wheels from locking so you can brake normally. Question number 56. When using the controlled braking method in an emergency situation, you should A. Apply the brakes with about half of your usual force. B. Apply the brakes so the wheels lock. C. Apply the brakes with minimal pressure. D. Apply the brakes as hard as possible without locking the wheels. The correct answer is here, D. Apply the brakes as hard as possible without locking the wheels. Explanation. The controlled braking method for emergency stops involves applying the brakes as hard as you can, without locking the wheels. Keep steering wheel movement small when braking in this way. Question number 57. If your safe speed is 45 miles per hour and you are traveling at 60 miles per hour on a downgrade, you should apply the brakes until you have slowed to what speed? A. 35 miles per hour. B. 30 miles per hour. C. 45 miles per hour. D. 40 miles per hour. The correct answer is here, D. 40 miles per hour. Explanation. When on a downgrade, you should apply the brakes until you are traveling at 5 miles below your safe speed. Question number 58. Excessive use of the service brakes may result in overheating, which can lead to A. Expansion of the brake drums. B. Increased contact between the brake drums and the brake linings. C. Improper adjustment of the S-cams. The correct answers here. A. Expansion of the brake drums. Explanation. Overusing the service brakes can cause overheating and expansion of the brake drums. The brake shoes will have to move farther to contact the brake drums, making braking harder or eventually impossible. Brake fade. Question number 59. When operating a vehicle with a dual brake system, a driver should A. Let the vehicle warm up before driving to ensure that fuel reaches the engine. B. Begin driving just after the vehicle starts. C. Pump the pedal about 20 times to build pressure, then begin driving. D. Wait to begin driving until the air compressor builds up a minimum pressure of 100 C in both the primary and secondary systems. The correct answers here. D. Wait to begin driving until the air compressor builds up a minimum pressure of 100 C in both the primary and secondary systems. Explanation. Before driving a vehicle with a dual air system, allow time for the air compressor to build up a minimum pressure of 100 C in both the primary and secondary systems. Question number 60. To test the air service brakes. A. Brake firmly while slowly moving forward. B. Brake firmly while slowly moving backward. C. Stop the vehicle, put it in low gear, depress the brake pedal, and then gently pull against the brakes. The correct answers here. A. Brake firmly while slowly moving forward. Explanation. To test the service brakes, wait for normal air pressure, then move your vehicle forward slowly, at about 5 mph, and brake hard. Check whether your vehicle stops promptly without pulling to one side or the other. Question number 61. When only the tractor is equipped with an anti-lock braking system, ABS. A. There is an increased risk of jackknifing. B. The brakes will not work as effectively as they would without ABS. C. The brakes will become more sensitive. D. There is a decreased risk of jackknifing. The correct answers here. D. There is a decreased risk of jackknifing. Explanation. If a tractor is equipped with an anti-lock braking system, ABS, but the trailer is not, the risk of jackknifing will be reduced and the driver should still be able to maintain steering control. If only the trailer is equipped with ABS, it is less likely that the trailer will swing out to one side. Question number 62. If the safety valve begins releasing air, you should A. Make sure there is alcohol in the alcohol evaporator. B. Manually drain the valve as there may be moisture in the system. C. Ease up on braking. D. Have the governor and or lines checked by a mechanic. The correct answers here. D. Have the governor and or lines checked by a mechanic. Explanation. If the safety valve is releasing air, something is wrong and you should have your truck evaluated by a mechanic immediately. Question number 63. If you must make an emergency stop, brake so that A. You'll definitely lock the brakes. B. You can use the parking brake before the brake pedal. C. Your vehicle will stay in a straight line. The correct answers here. C. Your vehicle will stay in a straight line. Explanation. If you must brake in an emergency, brake in a way that keeps your vehicle in a straight line while still letting you turn if necessary. You can use the controlled braking method or, in a vehicle without anti-lock brakes, the stab braking method. Question number 64. What are springs brakes? A. They are the camblaster brakes. B. They are the springs on the brake pedal. C. If the air brakes leak down, springs apply the brakes to stop the vehicle. The correct answer is here, C. If the air brakes leak down, springs apply the brakes to stop the vehicle. Explanation. Springs brakes will automatically come on if air pressure in the tanks drop too low and will not be able to stop the vehicle. They are used as emergency brakes and parking brakes.